Hi, I'm Andrew, and today we're talking about marathons and why everyone should run one, in my opinion.
All right, including me.
Yes, even you. It's great, I think, to do it for a couple of reasons. Everyone can, first of all, with some training and sort of minimal, not minimal preparation. It's good to know what's involved.
What is typical preparation for running a marathon?
So usually so there's a lot of programs out there. Usually what it is a good idea to do is to start running at least a few months before, so that your body is a lot more attuned to what's going to happen when you start running, especially for that kind of distance. You don't have to run fast, and the sort of, you don't need any fancy technology. Literally any watch with a timer will do. Like, that's the most important thing, just to know how long you've been running for. And then, just get a pair of shoes that's comfortable for you and not too heavy or too padded, because that can mess with your knees. Yeah, and then you should do that, run for a few months with alternating sort of distances, like sort of edging up. But as far as how long you need to run, or like what the distances you need to run before you do a marathon, no one agrees on it. Anyone who tells you that there's only one way is lying to you. Just to give you an idea of what it's going to feel like, it is sort of recommended that you get up to 15 or 16 miles. But everything after a certain point, depending on how good of a runner you are and how long you've been running, is going to feel the same.
So for like 3 miles for me, that's about it.
Okay. I mean, well, that's the thing. You'd start, 4 to 8 months out, and you'd say, okay, I'm going to run 3 miles today. I'm going to run 4 miles tomorrow, and then go back to 3, and then go up to 5, and then go back to 2, sort of up and down like that. You don't want to hurt yourself, but
which I would do. Insufferable and lazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, the best way to not hurt yourself is to drink a lot of water. So,
which, as you know, I'm so good at.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the one thing I wanted to talk to you about was like the physical aspect of it is one thing, but I feel like the mental aspect is like harder, at least maybe for me or for a lot of other people. Is there kind of advice you would have on that sort of aspect of it?
That's what I'd say most of the training is actually for a lot of people, because, people run marathons into their 50s and 60s and 70s. It's not a question of if you can do it, but if you have the sort of fortitude to do it and to make sure you don't get injured. Because a lot of the people that quit, or a lot of the people that stop running, it's not like they've never experienced that pain before. But they're overwhelmed, or they are, the thought of continuing is too hard, which is what happens. And so for that, I'd say practicing, just running is very helpful, but also just the knowledge of it being that day. That's why people sort of work up to it, and why there are a lot of programs out there, free and paid, to sort of get you in the mindset, because on the day of, again, unless you get injured, it's very likely that you're going to finish. Because even if you walk, it's not like they're going to close down the course. And most people can walk a mile about as fast as you would have to do if you walk the whole thing before they closed it down. Most people, it kind of varies, but yeah. So just with the knowledge that it's just that one time, and you're doing something that day, in 3 to 6 hours, you're going to be done. You'll have completed a marathon, and it's a great, you'll get a medal. You'll feel exuberant at at some finish lines. You get some beer. Most of them have space blankets to sort of make sure you're not feeling wild.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's a confident optimism is what you have to maintain.
Optimism, yes. I wouldn't even call it confident, because really, once you start running, it's more just it's an inertia thing. Because, other than bathroom breaks or stopping to get water or getting some energy gels, which are, everyone recommends that you use those, and everyone does, which help a lot. But other than that, you just,
I just need those for grad school on like a daily basis.
No, they'll keep you awake. They'll keep you going for sure.
So how did you get into marathons? When did you like start running them, and why?
Well, I started running in high school, and actually I started, just regular running in high school. But my sister Megan wanted to do the Chicago Marathon. And at that point I was sort of interested, but maybe not really. I hadn't kind of thought about doing it before, but hadn't had the specific motivation to do so. But she did it, and so did my dad. And so then I ran the LA Marathon with her, which was a lot of fun and really cool. Very, very a fun course, I'd say, even though it's not a normal course, because most marathons have some sort of loop aspect,
right.
Just to make it's easier to organize that way. And it also makes more sense in terms of it's easier to get runners back to where they started, all these things, especially if you're just going to the city to run. Yeah, I mean, and it's not the only course that just goes in a straight line, but, a lot of marathons usually have some sort of loop.
We're LA, we have to be different.
Yeah, exactly. But it is a fun course because you start in Dodger Stadium and then you run to Santa Monica, basically, which is great.
Wow. Damn. My dad used to run marathons, and I feel like I've just been an abject failure of a daughter in my lack of athleticism. So maybe
do you know how many he's run or where he's gone? Because
I feel like he did the LA one. I'll have to ask him, but we have pictures of it somewhere, and I'm like, wow, impressive. I should do that, maybe in another lifetime.
It's so easy. You just need shoes.
It's not easy.
Everyone has a timer on their phone, now. You don't even need a watch, really, to start.
Yeah.
Just go out there and walk or run for a certain distance, and then that's your start point.
You'll have to bully me into it. Interesting. Okay. So other than like the just start, just go, just practice thing, are there other things you'd recommend for people who want to get into marathon running or anything of the sort?
We can't really do it right now, but I'd say the other biggest source of help when you get into running is having other people to run with, because people try to distract themselves with music or try to carry a lot of stuff that they think they need. You don't need to bring water on runs unless you're like very much just starting out. It screws up your form. And you also don't need the water while you're running. You need it afterwards. And same thing with music. It can be helpful to distract yourself, especially, going on a very long run. But if you're not thinking about your form and you're like letting yourself sort of just get carried along, you're a lot more likely to get hurt. Which is why it's so great to have people around, because they're distracting. You can have conversations with them. And it helps you not think about the pace or the distance, but you're still getting that distraction.
Right.
And it's very communal. Most runs are not going to be sprints, or workouts like that. And so you just have a conversation. It's like having a conversation with a friend, but you're just getting some new scenery every few seconds. Huh?
But you're just suffering the whole time.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It makes it less like that.
Well, I still appreciate blasting My Chemical Romance while running, and that's my form of therapy. So, but anyway, this has been great. I love learning from you. And
wow.
Yeah, 10 minutes just like that. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.